The night was cold and quiet. A soft rain fell on the tall city of Nera 3, a world of glass towers and bright lights that never slept. Cars flew through the air, lights blinking red and blue, and people walked quickly under the sky bridges, never looking down. Far below the shining towers, where light hardly reached, a young girl named Lena sat under an old bridge. She was thin, her clothes were torn, and her hands were always black from dirt and machine oil. She had no home, no family, and no one who cared where she was. For food, she searched trash bins. For warmth, she had an old blanket that smelled of smoke. Her only friend was a small robot dog she had built from broken parts she found in junkyards. She called it Pip. Its body was made of metal cans and wires, and its eyes were two blinking lights. Pip followed her everywhere, wagging its short metal tail and making soft beeps. Lena loved it because it never left her. That night, she sat close to the wall, trying to fix Pip's leg that had stopped moving. Her hands were cold and her stomach hurt from hunger. She whispered, "Don't worry, Pip, I'll fix you soon." Just then, a loud sound came from the empty street above, like metal crashing into stone. The ground shook. A bright red flash lit the night for a moment, then silence returned. Lena froze. She looked up the stairs that led to the street. No one else moved. No one cared. Curious, she picked up her small flashlight and whispered to Pip, "Let's see what that was." The robot dog beeped once and followed. When she reached the street, she saw smoke rising near a broken wall. Something had crashed there. Slowly, she walked closer. Through the smoke, she saw a large black machine lying on its side. It looked like a motorcycle, but not a normal one. Its frame glowed with red light, and strange silver lines moved like veins along its body. Beside it lay a man. He wore a thick black jacket with a winged skull sign on the back. His face was pale, his leg twisted in a bad angle, and his helmet was cracked. Lena looked around. Several people had stopped for a moment but then walked away. A flying car slowed down, looked, and then sped off. Everyone ignored him. She stood still, unsure what to do. The man looked dangerous, and the machine looked like something from another world. But then she heard a soft groan. The man was alive. Her heart told her to move. She ran to him and bent down. His breathing was weak. "Sir, can you hear me?" she asked. There was no answer, only a faint sound like a whisper. She looked at the strange bike. Sparks flew from one side. The smell of burnt metal filled the air. Something on the machine blinked, a small round light, red and fading. Then a cold voice spoke from inside the bike. "Unit offline. Rider critical. Activating emergency link." Lena jumped back in shock. "What is that?" she whispered. Pip barked, a short metallic sound, and hid behind her legs. The man groaned again, his voice low. "Help me." Without thinking more, Lena dragged him toward the wall. It was not easy. He was heavy. Her arms burned with pain, but she didn't stop. She found a dry spot under an awning and laid him there. His jacket felt like armor, thick and heavy. She took her old blanket and covered him. Rain still fell and the air grew colder. She checked his pockets for any sign of medicine or ID, but found nothing. The only thing she found was a small silver badge with the same winged skull symbol. She whispered, "Who are you?" The man didn't answer. Lena turned to Pip. "We need to fix his machine. Maybe it can call help." She walked back to the strange bike. The surface of the machine was warm and smooth. The red light blinked slowly now. She noticed a small crack where wires were exposed. Carefully, she took out her repair tool, a broken screwdriver, a tiny welding pen, and some wire clips she kept in her pocket. She worked with slow hands, trying not to damage it more. The machine made soft sounds, almost like breathing. She spoke softly while she worked, as if talking to it. "Don't worry. I'll try to help your rider." After some time, the red light grew brighter. The voice came again, still weak. "Emergency repair detected. Life support link restored. Thank you." Lena stepped back. "You can talk?" "Affirmative. Rider status critical. Medical nanobots activated. Recovery in process." She didn't understand everything, but she could see the man's breathing become more steady. The strange glow on his jacket slowly faded. His legs still looked hurt, but the bleeding stopped. Lena sat beside him, feeling both fear and relief. She whispered, "You'll be fine. Just stay alive." Hours passed. The rain stopped. The street became quiet again. She stayed beside him all night, feeding Pip small pieces of dry bread from her pocket. She looked at the sleeping man and wondered who he was. His face, though tired and scarred, looked calm. When the sun began to rise, golden light touched the street. The man moved. His eyes opened slowly, sharp, gray, and filled with confusion. "Where am I?" he asked in a rough voice. "You're in the lower city," Lena said softly. "You crashed last night. Everyone ignored you. I helped you." He stared at her, trying to understand. "You helped me?" "Yes," she said. "You were hurt. Your bike." It talked. He sat up slowly, groaning in pain. His eyes widened when he saw the black machine. "You repaired it?" "A little," she said. "It was broken. I just connected some wires." He looked at her with surprise. "You're not afraid?" Lena shook her head. "No, should I be?" The man smiled weakly. "Most would run." He looked at the sky for a moment, then at her again. "What's your name?" "Lena," she said. "And you?" "Rogan," he replied. "Rider of the Hells Angels." The name sounded strange to her. She had heard of street gangs before, but his words felt different. Deeper. "Hells Angels?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "Not from this world." Lena blinked. "Not from this world? What do you mean?" Rogan looked at the sky again, his eyes distant. "I came from far beyond the stars. My crew and I travel the void between worlds. We protect the weak and fight those who harm colonies. We are human, but we live among the stars. My ship was attacked. I fell through the atmosphere and crashed here." Lena's mouth opened slightly. "You're from space?" "Yes," he said simply. "And you? You saved me." Lena didn't know what to say. For a long time, no one had even spoken to her kindly. Now this man from the stars was thanking her. She asked quietly, "Will you be okay?" He looked at his leg. "Not yet. My Void Runner needs a new power core. Without it, I can't leave, and I can't call my people." Lena frowned. "Then we'll fix it." Rogan looked at her with disbelief. "We?" She nodded firmly. "You can't walk. I can help. I'm good at fixing things." He smiled faintly. "You are brave, Lena." She didn't know why, but his words warmed her heart. Above them, the city lights flickered as the sun climbed higher. Life in Nira 3 continued as usual. People rushing, machines flying, no one looking down. But under that bridge, something had changed. A homeless girl had saved a fallen warrior from the stars. Neither of them knew it yet, but this small act of kindness would soon change both their lives, and perhaps the future of all humankind. Morning light spread slowly through the streets of Nira 3. The sky above the tall towers was bright, but deep below, where Lena and Rogan hid, the air stayed cool and gray. The city never slept. People rushed to work. Drones floated by and giant screens flashed news no one truly cared about. But under the bridge, a different story was beginning. Lena sat near a small fire she had made from trash wood. Rogan rested against the wall, his injured leg still wrapped in her blanket. The strange black bike, the Void Runner, stood nearby, glowing softly like it was breathing. Rogan's eyes opened slowly. He looked around, trying to remember where he was. When he saw Lena, he gave a small nod. "You stayed all night," he said quietly. Lena smiled a little. "You were hurt. I couldn't leave you." He looked at the tiny robot dog beside her. "And that one?" "That's Pip," she said proudly. "I built him from junk. He keeps me company." Rogan reached out and touched Pip's metal head. "You have skill," he said. "You fixed my bike and you made this one. You could be an engineer." Lena looked down. "People up there don't care what I can do. They only see a girl from the lower city." Rogan's eyes softened. "Then they have forgotten what makes humans strong." He tried to move his leg and winced. "Still broken," he muttered. "But the healing nanobots are working." Lena looked at his jacket again. "You said you were a Hell's Angel. What is that?" He leaned back and looked up at the dim sky. "Long ago, humans spread across the stars. We built colonies on many worlds, but we lost contact with each other. Some became peaceful, others cruel. My people, the Hells Angels, are riders who protect travelers and defend colonies from raiders and machines. We ride the Void Runners, our ships, through the black between worlds." Lena's eyes widened. "You mean space?" "Yes," Rogan said with a small smile. "The cold sea of stars. We fight to keep humans safe. But last week our patrol found something dangerous. A swarm of machines built to destroy everything human. We fought them, but I was shot down. My ship fell through a wormhole and landed here." Lena listened closely. His voice was calm but carried deep pain. "So you're stuck here?" He nodded. Without the quantum fuel core, my Void Runner can't fly or send a signal. I can't call my brothers, she frowned. Can we find that part here? Maybe, Rogan said. The energy is rare, but this world is rich in machines. Someone might have stolen it already. I need to rest and heal first. After that we can look, Lena nodded firmly. Then I'll help. He looked at her, surprised. You would help a stranger? You're not a stranger anymore, she said. You're hurt and I owe you for fixing Pip's battery last night. And you talked to me like I mattered. Rogan smiled faintly. You do matter, Lena. You saved a warrior when no one else did. In my world, that means something. He tried to stand, but pain shot through his leg and he sank down again. Lena rushed forward. Don't move. You'll make it worse, he sighed. You're right. I'm not used to being weak. She gave him a piece of stale bread. Eat this. It's all I have. He took it without complaint. Thank you. On my planet, we would share food before every ride. You remind me of that. Days passed slowly. Rogan grew a little stronger each day while Lena took care of him. She brought old wires, batteries, and scrap metal from nearby junkyards. Rogan taught her how to use them in better ways. How to shape circuits. How to read machine code. How to repair drones quietly. At night, he told her stories of his people, of space battles, asteroid colonies, and riders who never stopped fighting even when they were outnumbered. Lena listened with bright eyes, imagining the endless stars. One night, as they sat near the fire, Rogan asked, Why are you alone, Lena? She looked into the flames. I lost my parents when I was little. There was a factory explosion. After that, I lived on the streets. People say the lower city is full of trash, but it's full of people like me, forgotten ones. Rogan's jaw tightened. On my world, no human is left behind. You deserve better. She smiled sadly. Maybe, but that's how life is here. He looked at her for a long moment. Then maybe we can change that together. A week later, Rogan's leg was strong enough for him to walk a few steps. The Void Runner, too, was running better after Lena's careful repairs. But one thing still missing was the quantum fuel core. Rogan showed her a hologram from his wrist device, a small glowing cube surrounded by energy. This is what we need, he said. Without it, we're trapped. Lena looked at it with curiosity. I've seen something like that, she said. Rogan turned to her quickly. Where? In the upper district, she said. There's a military storage building near the sky bridge. Sometimes drones carry strange glowing boxes into it. The workers call it the power hall. Rogan frowned. If that's true, they have my core. Then we can get it, Lena said simply. He shook his head. It's guarded by soldiers and drones. You could be caught. I'm small. I know the tunnels. I can move without being seen, Lena replied. You taught me how to hide heat signals and use shadows. I can do it, he smiled proudly. You learn fast, she grinned. You teach well. That night, Rogan took her to the top of a half-broken building. From there, the whole city stretched out like a sea of light. He pointed to the sky. See those stars? Each one is a home to someone. Humanity is not alone. We are many. But we must never forget what makes us strong, helping each other when no one else will. Lena looked up at the stars for a long time. Do you think someone like me can ever go there? Rogan nodded. You already have the heart of a writer. You just need a ship. She laughed softly. Then let's fix yours fast. The next morning, Rogan and Lena prepared for their mission. She packed small tools, wire cutters, and a scanner he had repaired. Rogan gave her a wrist comm link connected to his bike. If anything happens, he said, speak into this. The Void Runner will come for you if it can. She looked nervous. What about you? I'll hide here and recover more. I'll guide you through the link. Lena nodded firmly. Okay, I'll get the core. Rogan looked at her seriously. Be careful, Lena. You are brave, but bravery without care can become foolishness. She smiled. Don't worry. I'll be careful and brave. Rogan chuckled softly. You remind me of my first apprentice. He used to say the same words before every battle. She adjusted her bag and looked at Pip. Stay here and watch him, she told the little robot. Pip beeped twice and stood beside Rogan's leg like a small guard. Then Lena disappeared into the misty alleys of the lower city. Rogan watched her go, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, hope. He looked up at the gray sky. She has the fire, he whispered. The spirit of a true rider. Then he closed his eyes and rested. listening through the comlink to her quiet footsteps fading away. High above, the city lights flickered again. Somewhere in those towers waited the fuel core, and a new beginning not just for Rogan but for Lena, the girl who refused to walk away. The night air of Nira 3 was heavy with fog and electric light. The tall towers reached the clouds, their edges glowing blue and gold. From far below, the city looked like a maze of metal veins and flashing signs. Hidden among them, Lena moved silently through narrow streets, her small steps careful, her eyes sharp. She had left Rogan resting under the bridge. His leg was still weak, but his voice guided her through the small earpiece on her wrist comlink. "Can you hear me, Lena?" His voice crackled softly. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm near the sky bridge now." "Good. Remember, the military storage building is ahead. Stay out of open areas. Use the service tunnels below the bridge to get close." Lena nodded even though he couldn't see her. She knew this part of the city better than anyone. The rich people above never looked down here, but she had explored every corner when looking for food or scrap. She climbed over a broken gate and entered a dark passage filled with pipes. The smell of oil and dust filled her nose. Her small flashlight showed the path ahead, narrow metal corridors that led to the upper levels. "Rogan," she said softly, "why would the military keep your ship parts?" Rogan's voice came through calm but heavy. "They collect everything that falls from the sky. The rulers of Nira 3 don't like outsiders. They take our machines, study them, and use them for power. If they find my Void Runner, they'll destroy it, or worse, use it to build war weapons." Lena clenched her fists. "Then we'll get your part before they do." After some time, she reached a round door with a lock panel. The small screen flashed red. Lena took out her handmade hacking tool, a mix of wires, chips, and a battery. Rogan had taught her how to connect it to old systems. "Try to link the blue wire first," Rogan said through the comm link. Lena followed his directions carefully. The lock light blinked yellow, then green. The door slid open with a low hiss. She stepped into a large room filled with old machines and robot parts. Dust floated in the air like mist. The noise from the upper city faded here. Only the soft hum of power lines filled the silence. "Good work," Rogan said. "Now head north. You'll reach a lift that goes up to the storage level." "Understood," Lena whispered. She moved quickly but quietly. Every step echoed softly. She stopped when she heard a strange buzzing sound. Looking up, she saw a small flying drone scanning the area. It had a blue light sweeping left and right. Lena pressed herself against a wall and held her breath. The drone passed, humming softly, unaware of her. She waited until it vanished, then continued. Finally, she reached the lift, a wide metal platform with blinking panels. She pressed a button and the lift began to rise. The air grew warmer. Through the floor grate, she could see the lower city shrinking away. Her heart beat faster. She had never gone this high before. The upper levels were for officers, scientists, and the powerful, people who never even noticed her kind. But tonight, a homeless girl was walking among them. When the lift stopped, a huge hall opened before her. The floor was clean and shining, and bright white lights glowed from the ceiling. Shelves of metallic crates lined the walls. At the center, inside a glass chamber, she saw several glowing cubes, small, bright, and humming with energy. Her eyes widened. "Rogan," she whispered. "I found them. There are many cubes here." Rogan's voice grew tense. "Describe them." "They're small, silver, and glowing blue inside." "That's it," Rogan said. "The quantum fuel cores. My ship needs one. But listen, Lena, do not touch more than one. The energy is unstable. And hurry. Drones will detect your signal soon." Lena nodded. She looked around carefully. 2 guards stood near the chamber, both wearing gray suits with visors. They held small energy batons that glowed faintly. Lena hid behind a storage box and thought quickly. Then she saw a small vent pipe near the ceiling leading into the chamber. She could fit through it. She climbed up silently, gripping the metal bars. When she reached the vent, she used her screwdriver to remove the cover. The metal was cold against her skin. She crawled through, moving slowly until she reached the top of the chamber. Below her, the cores glowed like small stars. She smiled slightly. "Almost there," she whispered. Then she dropped down quietly. Her feet touched the floor with a soft sound. She picked up one cube carefully. It was warm and light, humming softly in her hands. "Got it," she said into her comm link. Good work, Lena, Rogan replied. Now get out of there fast. But before she could move, an alarm began to ring, loud and sharp. Red lights flashed across the room. The guards turned instantly. Hey, who's there? One of them shouted. Lena gasped. She ran toward the nearest exit, holding the cube close to her chest. Drones flew from the ceiling, their blue lights turning red. Run, Lena, Rogan shouted in her ear. She dashed through the corridor, her boots hitting the metal floor. The cube glowed brightly now, reacting to her movement. Laser beams flashed past her, hitting walls and boxes. She jumped behind a machine and breathed hard. Rogan, there are too many. Stay calm, he said. Left side, there's a waste chute. It leads down to the lower tunnels. She turned and saw it. A round metal door half open. She ran for it, but a drone flew in front of her, blocking the way. Stop, it ordered in a cold voice. Lena ducked as the drone fired a stun beam. The light hit the wall beside her, leaving a burn mark. She rolled to the side and threw a small battery she had been carrying. It hit the drone's eye and sparks flew. The machine spun and crashed into the wall. Nice throw, Rogan said. Lena didn't answer. She leapt into the waste chute and slid down fast. The world turned into a blur of metal and wind. Then thud. She landed hard on a pile of soft trash bags. She coughed and stood up, still holding the cube. I made it. Rogan's voice came through, filled with relief. You did it, Lena. You did what even a trained soldier might fail to do. She smiled weakly. It's not over yet. There are footsteps. They're chasing me. Keep moving, Rogan said. I'll send the Void Runner to meet you. She ran through the tunnels, the sound of her footsteps mixing with the hum of the cube. Ahead, a beam of light appeared, red and strong. The Void Runner hovered there, its engines glowing softly. Lena ran toward it. The side opened and she jumped inside. Rogan sat in the pilot's seat, his face pale but determined. Hold on, he said, gripping the controls. They'll be right behind us. Through the rear screen, Lena saw soldiers and drones rushing into the tunnel. Rogan pressed a button and the Void Runner roared to life. Flames burst from its sides and it shot upward like a black arrow. The tunnel walls became a blur as they rose into the open air. The city lights spread beneath them like a sea of stars. Lena's heart pounded, but she smiled. We made it, she said. Rogan looked at her and nodded. You did more than that. You gave me back my wings. Lena held the glowing cube close and whispered, Then let's make sure you can fly again. As the Void Runner climbed higher, the night sky opened wide above them. Neither of them knew that their escape had just begun, and that their actions had already drawn the eyes of forces far greater than they could imagine. Morning light came softly through the cracks in the walls of the old garage. Lena sat on the floor beside Ray, who was still resting after a long night of pain and fever. The wind outside carried the smell of wet earth after a light rain. She looked around at the small space that had become their shelter, a place filled with tools, oil stains, and the strange quiet that only existed in forgotten corners of the city. Ray opened his eyes slowly. His bandaged arm looked better, but his face was pale. You didn't sleep again, he said in a low voice. I'm fine, Lena replied, brushing dust from her coat. You needed rest. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Ray gave a weak smile. You're tougher than you look, kid. She didn't answer, but handed him a small cup of water. He took it, drank slowly, then looked around. This place reminds me of the old workshop I used to have, he said. Back before everything went wrong. What happened? Lena asked carefully. Ray looked down at the floor for a long moment. I trusted the wrong people, he said quietly. And when you trust wrong in my world, it burns everything around you. Lena could see something deep behind his tired eyes. Guilt, pain, maybe even loss. She wanted to ask more, but she could feel the weight in his tone. Instead, she changed the subject. We need food. I can go to the market today, Ray nodded. Take the side streets. And if anyone asks about me, don't mention me. Not yet. Lena agreed and left the garage with her small bag. The streets were busy, full of cars, vendors, and people moving fast. Nobody noticed her, a small girl with worn clothes, walking quietly along the edge of the city. As she reached the market, she bought a few pieces of bread and a bottle of water with the little money Ray had given her. She was about to leave when she saw two men standing near a motorbike. One of them wore a black jacket with a red symbol, a winged skull. Her heart jumped. It was the same symbol on Ray's jacket. The man spoke loudly, his voice rough. We still haven't found him. He couldn't have gone far. Boss says he's bleeding bad. Someone must be helping him. Lena froze. They were looking for Ray. She quickly turned and walked away, her hands shaking. She kept her head low until she disappeared into a small alley. Her mind raced. Should she tell Ray? Should they leave the city? When she returned to the garage, Ray was sitting up, trying to move his arm. "You're back early," he said. Lena placed the food on the table but didn't speak. She looked at him, her face pale. "Ray, someone's looking for you," she whispered. He stopped moving. "Who?" "Men with jackets like yours." The one with the red wings. Ray's jaw tightened. He looked toward the small window, then back at her. "That's my old crew," he said. "The Hells Angels chapter I used to run with." Lena frowned. "They don't sound like friends." "They were once," Ray said softly. "But things changed when I tried to stop them from doing something wrong. I thought I could fix it. Instead, I became the enemy." Lena stepped closer. "They said you were bleeding. They're searching every street." Ray took a deep breath, thinking fast. "Then we can't stay here." "It's not safe for you." "I'm not leaving you," she said firmly. Ray looked at her, surprised. There was no fear in her voice, only stubborn strength. "You'll get hurt if you stay." Lena shook her head. "You helped me when no one else did. Now it's my turn." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ray sighed and nodded. "All right, but we move tonight." Once it's dark, the day passed slowly. Ray gathered what little he could carry, a small knife, his jacket, and a few supplies. Lena filled a bag with food and water. They waited until the sun disappeared behind the tall buildings. As night came, the garage door creaked open, and they stepped into the shadows. The streets were quiet except for the sound of rain starting again. They moved carefully through back alleys, avoiding the main roads. But as they turned a corner, headlights flashed across the street. A motorbike stopped at the end of the alley. A tall man stepped off, wearing the same red-winged jacket. His voice echoed through the narrow space. "Ray, I knew you were too stubborn to die." Ray grabbed Lena's hand and pulled her behind a trash bin. "Stay down," he whispered. The man walked closer, his boots splashing in the puddles. "You made a mistake running from us. The boss wants a word." Ray stepped out slowly, hands raised. "Tell him I'm done," he said. "I don't owe him anything," the man laughed. "You think walking away is that easy?" Suddenly, two more figures appeared from the shadows behind the bikes. Lena's heart pounded. She could see they were carrying something shiny, metal rods. Ray stood tall, his eyes cold. "I don't want to fight." "Then come quietly," the man said. Ray took a step back. Not happening. Lena knew things would turn bad fast. Her eyes darted around and fell on a broken pipe lying near the wall. Quietly, she picked it up, her hands trembling. The men moved closer to Ray, ready to grab him. At that moment, Lena shouted, "Now, Ray!" Ray turned, used his good arm to push one attacker aside and kicked the other's leg. The alley filled with noise. Shouts, footsteps, the clash of metal. Lena swung the pipe, hitting one of the men's hands. He dropped the rod and cursed. "Run!" Ray shouted, grabbing her hand again. They ran through the rain, turning corner after corner until the sound of engines faded behind them. Finally, they reached an old bridge on the edge of the city. Both of them stopped, breathing hard. The bridge was empty, only the sound of dripping water below. Lena looked at Ray. "They'll come again, won't they?" Ray nodded. "Yeah, but they won't find us easily now." He sat down against the railing, looking at the dark city lights. "You didn't have to do that back there," he said softly. Lena smiled faintly. "You would have done the same for me." Ray chuckled, then looked serious. "You're brave, kid. But this isn't over yet. They'll keep hunting me until I end it for good." She sat beside him, silent for a while. "Then I'll help you finish it," she said. Ray turned his head, surprised again. "Why?" Lena looked out at the night sky. "Because someone has to stop running. And maybe this time it's both of us." For a long time they sat there, listening to the sound of the rain and the faraway hum of the city. In that quiet moment, a strange kind of bond formed between them, not just of survival, but of trust. The road ahead was dangerous, and they both knew it. But for the first time in a long while, neither of them felt alone. The sky above Nira 3 was filled with stars that twinkled like scattered diamonds. The city below seemed small and distant, its bright towers reflecting in the puddles of rain on the streets. Lena stood at the edge of a high platform, her small figure silhouetted against the vast universe. Beside her, Rogan tightened the straps on his black and silver jacket. The Void Runner hummed quietly, its engines glowing faint red. Its sleek form seemed almost alive, waiting for the right moment to soar into the sky. Tonight would change everything. "Are you ready?" Rogan asked, his voice calm but firm. Lena looked at him, her heart racing. She had come a long way from the cold streets, the empty alleys, and the nights of hunger. "I think so," she said, gripping the small control stick he had given her. "I'm ready." Rogan nodded. "Good. Remember what I taught you. Focus on the path, trust your instincts, and never give up." Lena's small hand rested on the stick, feeling the energy of the Void Runner. She could sense the hum of power, the soft vibration beneath her fingers. For a moment she felt fear. The engines roared softly as if testing her resolve. Then she remembered every step that had led her here, helping him, fixing machines, running through alleys, facing danger, and refusing to give up. "I won't let you down," she whispered. Rogan smiled faintly. "I know." The first challenge came immediately. As they rose above the city, search drones began to swarm. Blue lights flashed across the dark sky, and mechanical hums filled the air. Some drones fired beams of energy, aiming to stop them. "Left!" Rogan shouted. "Quick, Lena, dodge!" She twisted the controls, guiding the Void Runner through narrow gaps between the tall towers. The red glow of the engines cut through the darkness, leaving trails of light behind them. Lena's heart pounded, but she stayed focused. She remembered every lesson, every quiet night under the bridge, every tool she had fixed, every small victory. A beam struck the side of the ship, sending sparks flying. Lena gritted her teeth. "Hold on, Rogan. I've got this." Rogan held tightly to the console. "You're doing fine. Keep it steady." They dove through narrow gaps, spiraled around the towers, and rose again into the open sky. The drones followed, persistent and relentless. But Lena's instincts, sharpened by months of struggle in the streets, guided her. Each movement was precise, each decision quick and careful. "Almost there," Rogan said. "Keep moving toward the upper atmosphere. My brothers will see our signal." Suddenly, a massive light tore across the sky, a signal from the Hells Angels fleet. Ships, larger than any building, descended from above, their engines glowing bright gold. They moved like guardians of the night, surrounding the drones. Energy beams fired, drones fell, and the patrols began to retreat. Lena's eyes widened. "Rogan, they're here." "Yes," he said, his face lighting up. "And they came for us." The Void Runner rose higher, weaving among the massive ships. Lena guided it carefully, letting Rogan fire the main energy cannons to clear the remaining drones. The sky was filled with light, sound, and movement. Lena realized she was not just a girl from the streets anymore. She was part of something larger, something powerful. "You're incredible," Rogan said, a hint of pride in his voice. Lena smiled, feeling a warmth she had never known. "I just kept going," she said. "You've done more than that. You've reminded us all why humans are strong," Rogan replied. The battle over Nira 3 lasted only a few minutes, but it felt like hours. Lena guided the ship through the final wave of drones while Rogan prepared a return signal for their fleet. The city below was quiet now. From the sky, Lena could see the lights reflecting in puddles and the streets stretching endlessly. People were still oblivious to the heroes above. When the last drone fell, Rogan leaned back, exhausted but smiling. "We did it," he said. Lena looked at him, feeling a strange mix of joy and relief. "We did it together," she said. Rogan nodded. "And now there's one more choice for you, Lena." She frowned. "Choice?" Rogan pointed to the fleet ships hovering above. "You can stay on Nira 3, live a safe life, and never see this world again. Or you can join us. You can ride among the stars, protect humans, and continue learning what you've already started. The choice is yours." Lena looked down at the city. The streets she had walked, the alleys she had explored, the people who never noticed her. All of it seemed so small now. But she remembered something Rogan had said. Humans are strong when they help others, when they fight for hope, when they refuse to give up. I want to go, she said finally. Rogan smiled broadly. Good. Then welcome aboard, Ryder. The ships descended, forming a path for the Void Runner to join them. Rogan handed Lena a new jacket, black with silver wings stitched across the back, a symbol of trust and courage. She put it on, feeling a sense of pride and belonging she had never felt before. Pip, the small robot dog, beeped happily and jumped onto the seat beside her. Lena laughed softly. We're ready, Pip. Let's go home. Sort of. Rogan activated the engines, and the Void Runner lifted into the sky. The city below shrank as they rose higher and higher, the lights becoming tiny dots. Lena felt wind on her face, even though the air outside was thin and cold. The stars above were bright and close, welcoming her into a new world. This is amazing, Lena whispered. Rogan nodded. It's only the beginning. You'll learn to ride among the stars, Lena, and one day you'll teach others what you've learned: courage, hope, and the strength to never give up. As they joined the fleet, Lena could see other Void Runners moving in formation, human pilots guiding their ships with precision. She realized that the Hell's Angels weren't just warriors. They were guardians, explorers, and teachers. And now, she was one of them. For the first time in her life, Lena felt like she belonged. She remembered the nights she had sat alone, under the bridge watching people walk by without noticing her. She thought of all the small acts of courage that had led her here, helping Rogan, fixing machines, running through danger. And she knew that helping someone when no one else would was the moment that had changed everything. High above the world, the fleet moved in formation, leaving a glowing trail in the dark sky. Lena held the control stick tightly, guiding the Void Runner with steady hands. Rogan sat beside her, calm and proud. Ready for your first jump through the void? He asked. Lena nodded. I've waited for this my whole life. Rogan activated the signal. The ship trembled as the engines surged with energy. The stars in front of them stretched into streaks of light. The Void Runner leapt into the void, leaving Nira 3 behind. Lena's heart raced with excitement, wonder, and freedom. In that moment, she realized something important. It didn't matter where she had come from. What mattered was the courage to act, the heart to care, and the willingness to ride into the unknown. And she would never stop. The Void Runner glided smoothly through the black sea of stars. Lena looked out at the endless universe, feeling small and powerful at the same time. She had started as a girl no one noticed, living under a bridge with nothing but scraps and a small robot dog. Now, she was a rider among the stars, a human whose courage had changed everything, not just her life, but the lives of those she had touched. Rogan turned to her and smiled. Welcome, Lena. You're no longer just a girl from the streets. You're a guardian, a rider, and a part of something greater. Lena returned the smile. I'm ready for anything. And as the Void Runner soared higher, joining the fleet of human riders, the city below faded into memory. Above, the stars shone bright, welcoming a new hero, a girl who had stopped when no one else would and who now carried hope across the universe.